this is not the broadcast that you're used to. This is a broadcast where we actually are testing some stuff, but I'm still gonna give you some information, of course. So what are we testing? We're testing a brand new setup of Wirecast, and I'm actually gonna show you how. And how am I gonna show you that? With my iPhone. So we're gonna switch over here, and this is one of the That's really cool. So now you can ask us questions on Facebook Live. You can ask us questions in the chat room in YouTube. And we have something else that's really new. You can now even ask us questions via Twitter. We don't know if we're going to use this all together because it's already very difficult, of course, to juggle everything because most of the time I have to do it alone. But watch this. So we're going to switch over here. If you want to ask a question during this broadcast, just go to Twitter and use the hashtag QuestionDC. As you see here, QuestionDC. Normally, if we start to use Twitter, you can actually see this coming in via this little box under here. This is where all the Twitter messages will come in. So if you do something and you do QuestionDC, this is where it will come in. I don't know if we're going to use this again, but let's see. Okay, so let's switch back to normal. Okay, so this week I actually posted a new update on my blog about medium format, misunderstandings about medium format. And there's a lot of that stuff going on. So if you want to read the article, feel free to go to www.frankdorff.com and find the misunderstandings about medium format. The thing is that in one of the comments there was actually something that I hear a lot. Some guy was saying like, you know what? I will never buy a medium format camera for the very simple reason I can go to Hawaii on a vacation for that kind of money. This is something where you have to, well, where you have to decide for yourself, you know. Let me put it this way. Another command was actually, I will never buy medium format because it's only for pros. They can afford it. A real pro, let's take for example myself. I can do fine with a 24 megapixel camera or even a 16 megapixel camera, but let's say 24 megapixel camera. I can do whatever I want with that camera. I can do my stuff for the artistry shoot because the biggest we ever print is A0, so that's a big print, but we don't print any bigger. I can do my workshops. Heck, I can do my workshop with a 16 or 8 megapixel camera. It's about lighting, it's about explaining stuff to people. So I don't need a medium format camera for that. I don't need 42, 50 or 60 or 100 megapixels. So that's the standpoint from a pro. You need to deliver the image. The standpoint from an enthusiastic photographer is they want to have gear, they have gear acquisition syndrome. They want to have the best possible solution for their money. Now that's cool, but you have to balance this in between where do I spend the money for a medium format camera or where do I spend money for. And some people will spend it on a holiday or they will go to the bar and they will drink themselves totally senseless. I have friends of mine, and they don't drink themselves senseless, don't get me wrong, but I have friends of mine who go clubbing or go to a movie and they spend anywhere between 100 and 200 euros on an evening. We even went out with some guys who spent 400 euros on an evening. And they just go like, yeah, but we have a nice evening. In my opinion, when I come home and I've spent 400 euros on a dinner, a movie and some drinks, that's 400 euros, that's totally down the drain. I would much rather don't go out for a month and spend that money on a camera or on new gear, which I can enjoy my whole life, or at least a few years, instead of flushing it down the drain with just drinking. So I don't think that argument is solid. I don't think you can just tell people a medium format camera is too expensive, it's 10,000 euros. I can get a holiday for this. This is something that people have to decide for themselves. Take, for example, my passion and my hobby, comics. Now, I don't spend a lot of money on comics. I'm normally going through the $1 bin, or I'm going through $2 or $3 or whatever, but I don't spend a lot of money. Somebody else buys a comic for 200-300 euros. And they're even in a package, so you can't read them because they're graded. I won't say I will never buy one, but for me, that's like, if I buy a comic, I want to read it, I want to enjoy it, and I don't want to have it standing there with a grade on it for 200-300 euros. So everybody has to decide it for themselves. The reason I tell you guys this is, one, because we're testing the software and we have to make sure that it runs on both YouTube and on Facebook Live. The other thing is, it's something for you to think about. Maybe the whole medium format is not for you and you spend it on a holiday, but for some people it's the best solution ever and they love spending money on their hobby. And Anouk says we have a question.
What do you think about renting the too expensive stuff?
Okay, what do I think about renting the too expensive stuff? Awesome. If you need it, rent it. Go out and just rent it. For me personally, and sorry I'm a little bit sniffing because I'm still have the flu. For me personally, I think that renting is okay if you can earn it back or if you just want to get your hands on the gear. Most of the time I always tell people, like, if you rent, why not buy? And that's the same reason why our company cars are always bought. We never lease them. We don't buy them new, but we buy them like 5-6 years old. But then it's my own car. Our house we bought. I don't like renting, but again, that's personal. Some people will go out and rent, some people will buy. If you're a commercial photographer and your client asks you, can you please shoot this image for me with a 60 megapixel camera? And you have to say no, that means that you lose your client. If you can rent a 60 megapixel camera for, let's say, 200 euros and your client pays you, let's say, 600 euros, you can play with the camera, so make sure you have a model there and some stuff that you want to do. And then in the afternoon or in the morning, I would prefer to do the client's work before the fun. Shoot the work for your client and in fact let the client pay for your experience hands-on with the camera. Anyway, do you have any other questions on Facebook Live, or let me check, Twitter isn't active? No?
Just some people saying hi, good morning.
Okay, hi, good morning. And this is why we started doing also Facebook Live. As you can see now, we have way more interaction on Facebook Live than on Twitter. Some people have problems finding the Twitter chat room. And that's okay, because it is a little bit hidden and sometimes it's just difficult for people to press 2 or 3 buttons to find it. So they go like, you know what, just forget it. And with Facebook Live, you guys can interact, you guys see me. So we hope to get a lot more interaction during the broadcast. When is the broadcast? On Wednesday. And we're going to do something freakingly awesome. We have our model Linda coming over and we're going to shoot something that will literally blow your mind. Did I really say that, Anouk? Now I have to live up to it, right? Yeah. What are we going to do? We're going to use small strobes for portraits, but we're going to do something else. We're going to use loom cubes. So that means that Anouk is already fearing the recordings, because that means the whole studio has to be pitch dark. And that means I don't have to comb my hair because you don't see, well, you see it in the other. Anyway, so we're going to use loom cubes and we're going to use constant lighting. So we're going to show you guys that you can make great portraits with just one small strobe, but you can also do it with artificial light, like a light bulb or the loom cubes in this case. And we recorded yesterday already some videos for loom cube and you can do some amazing stuff with it. So you're going to see that on October 12th, 3 p.m. Central European Time. 3 p.m. it's a 2-hour broadcast. And for the first time ever for us, we're going to dual broadcast it via YouTube Live and, of course, Facebook Live. Do you have any other questions, guys? Because otherwise, I think this test works. And we can actually say that it's a success. And then I'm a little bit more satisfied to go online on Wednesday. Anyway, you can check Facebook time, YouTube Live and Facebook Live at the same time, but that's correct because we have a monitor here. I'm going to show you that on the iPhone. And this is actually pretty interesting that we now can use those together. So let me see if I can get my iPhone to work.
Can you check the YouTube messages?
Yes, I can check the YouTube messages from here. So let's see. Okay, there we go. So let's switch over so you guys can see what we're doing. Have Andrew Neal, let's get into it. And that's cool. Oh, somebody told me you don't have audio when you switch over to mobile. That's really good. Let's change that right away and let's see if we now have audio. So one moment, let's change this and let's do the same thing again so you guys can actually see what I was meaning or what I intended to tell you guys. And let me see, now we have audio and oops. There we go. So now I go to my iPhone, and if I'm correct, you now have audio. So we're going to do it again. So there we have Anouk. Hello, Anouk.
So somebody else is complaining about the noise through the audio, but that could be
Okay.
the laptop fan.
Yeah, the laptop fan is making a little bit of noise now. And here we have our, as I told before, our Wirecast setup. And over here you can now actually see the monitor. So this is where we can actually see our YouTube channel coming in. And there's a slight delay between the two, but that's workable. So let's get back to my own audio. Okay, so are there more people who hear strange, weird noises between my audio? Because if I'm correct, it should be okay now. Let me check.
Can we unplug the power from
Yes.
the laptop?
We can unplug the power of the laptop, but it's not advisable at the moment, because I think then everything will go wrong. Okay, let me see. No sound from the iPhone. Okay, that's solved now. Yep, all good. Yeah, we got sound. Okay, let me see if the sound is really from the mic. Yes. Okay, so that's working. The thing that I'm trying now, by the way, that's why we're trying this audio too, is that in the previous setups, what we actually used is we used our audio on the camera of Anouk. So in the past we didn't do that, and we used a mixer which had a slight delay. I'm going to show you that too. That's one of the cool things, that we can now use our iPhone actually to stream video. I never used that before with Wirecast, but it seems to work pretty well. So let me switch back to my iPhone for you guys. Okay. So in the past what we actually did is we used this mixer, and now the video is probably upside down. Let me change the text for you guys, and it's upside down again, so that's weird.
Yeah, there is a noise in the background.
Okay, so anyway, so that's the mixer we normally used, and that's a USB mixer. And the problem with the USB mixer was that somehow when the audio came in from the USB mixer and the video from the cameras, that there was a slight delay, especially when I did some retouching. So that was unacceptable, of course, and I think that had to do with some dropped frames or whatever. And we decided to put the audio actually on top of Anouk's camera. So by putting it on top of Anouk's camera, the audio was synced together with the HDMI signal going into Blackmagic, and then we had great audio. Now, because you guys wanted more, we also have a microphone for our model. So that means that if Nadine is here, she can talk about styling. Other models can talk about how it is to be photographed. And we also give a microphone to our intern for the questions. So you don't see me going like... Okay, so the question was... No, this will all be live now. So you will hear our intern asking the questions. The problem is we can't route that everything through Anouk's camera, because that means that she has a mixer on top of her camera walking around with the thing, and that's not workable. So that's why we decided to route the audio through a mixer straight into the Blackmagic Intensify. So that's going to be very interesting. And actually the last digital classroom, I think, was the first time we experimented with that, and it worked. So let's hope that the next time also works. So let me see. Ooh, we got a lot of questions here. Are we gonna also stream to Twitch? Yeah, I don't know yet. If there are enough questions, we can definitely check it out. I don't know how big the audiences will be there, but it's something we can check out. The only thing is, when we dual stream, we use a 3 megabyte stream. And what I understand is that if we dual stream to Facebook Live and YouTube Live, it's actually that we use 6 megabytes of our data. So we only have 100 gigs a month, which we can use for all our uploads and everything, because we still don't have fiber here. We're doing everything via 4Gs. And if we add Twitch to it, that would actually mean that we're streaming at 9 megabits. So that would take a big hit out of our budget for digital classroom. But if there are any sponsors out there who will help us out with that, we're more than welcome. you're more than welcome to help us out so we can stream on more social media networks. But for now, it will be Facebook Live and YouTube Live. But again, if we ever get fiber, we're on all channels that you guys want us. Okay, Anouk has a question via Facebook Live.
Yeah, it's Pablo Ortiz. Can you talk about your setup, camera, lenses, lighting?
Okay, my setups for camera, lighting, and everything else. This is something you have to watch Digital Classroom for. What I normally use, I have a very simple saying: use whatever camera you have. So normally for photo shoots we use a Sony A7R II. And during the time I found out that in the past I loved the 70-200, but more and more I'm leaning towards the 24-70. I don't use primes that much for the very simple reason with a zoom lens you have all those primes combined and you can actually walk around and change your perspective by just zooming. And the quality of the zoom lenses is great. The other camera I use a lot is the Mamiya DF Plus or Phase 1 DF Plus with a Leaf Credo back. And I use the Credo 60 because it's a full frame medium format camera, and that one is just plain awesome. If I really want the best quality possible, like on Sunday, we're gonna do a photo shoot for hairdressers. And of course we're gonna film that all in behind the closed doors for you guys. And that's when we start using the medium format camera. When I don't have control over my lighting, so in other words, if I have to use lume cubes, natural lighting or whatever, that's when I use the Sony. And the reason is very simple. The Credo still has the old medium format backs. So that means that there is a little bit of noise above ISO 200, and at ISO 400 the image gets noisy. Let's put it that way, noisy. And at ISO 800 it's actually, you can have the image to show, but it's not something that you can commercially use. So anything below 200 is great, anything above is, well, not so great. And with the Sony we can shoot up to 6400, 12800 without any problems. So it's a little bit horses for courses. If I want absolute quality, I have control over my lighting, medium format. If I don't have control over my lighting, I will actually start using the Sony. And of course the iPhone 7 Plus, great camera. And for behind the closed doors, we actually use this little thing. It's an RX100, it's a Mark III, and yesterday Sony released the Mark V. So I'm already pre-ordering the Mark V because then we can see my ugly face in 4K and Anouk's beautiful face on 4K, of course. And one thing, they still don't have an external solution for audio in the Mark V, and that's something that I really wanted to see. So Sony, if you're listening, make a solution for external audio, because this is a great camera. This is really awesome, but there's no external audio. So that's a little bit of a letdown. Okay, let me see. There are some other guys. We cannot hear Anouk. No, that's correct, Jeroen. At the moment you can't hear Anouk, and that's great because Anouk also has the flu, so she has a really sexy voice. And she's doing that kind of stuff, so you're glad you can't hear Anouk, but that's because Anouk doesn't have a mic at the moment. The meaning was actually that we just want to go online, test if everything works, and that was about it. And then all the questions came in, so this broadcast is actually taking a little bit longer. So Anouk, do you have more questions?
Yes, from Goran Meret Testing.
Okay, there's another question.
How long did it take you to get to the point where people were chasing you for work?
How long did it take me to get to the point where people were chasing me for work? I still am trying to get work. I'm just like you guys. It's very difficult in this market to get work, and I will explain to you why. Go online, Google photographer and your place. You will have a gazillion times 10 photographers in your living area. Everybody calls themselves a photographer. Now try to get a price. We recently had guys over here for a wedding, and we do weddings, and we have a fixed price point, and we're not that expensive. We charge, I believe, 1,250 euros for a wedding, which is incredibly cheap. And you know what they told me? I don't think we're gonna hire you for the wedding because we had another photographer and he was willing to do it for 75 euros, including prints. And I was just going like, is he freaking nuts? How can you do a whole wedding from 8 in the morning till 8 or 10 o'clock at night for 75 euros? But those are the weekend warriors, guys. Those are the guys that literally work for nothing. And you have to compete with that. So people don't chase me for work. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to take everything into my own hands. I'm going to create a brand called Learning with Frank, which actually was created later. And I'm going to focus on what I love to do. I love to teach. I love to tell you guys tricks. And I actually love to tell you guys techniques. I think that's way better. Because, let's be honest, if you take a great picture, you put it online, you get a like. That's cool. But that fades away. Now, if I teach somebody and I get emails from those people, like, you really changed my life, you changed the way that I look at photography, that's the best thing ever, man. I'm just sitting with a big smile. And somehow I just hit a niche. I hit a small part of the market with what I do, and in all honesty, I think I do it pretty well, the teaching stuff. So that's when people started chasing me for work to teach workshops. Photo shoots, it's still, we don't advertise as photographers because I think that's absolutely horrendous at the moment because everybody does that. We don't have an agent for the very simple reason they take a lot of your budget, and I don't know if for us it works because we're a lot abroad. So we have to manage our time and of course our spendings. And in the end, if somebody wants to hire me, they just email me. We do a lot of artists, and that's the cool thing. Like somebody like Bibi Shoyari, or we shot the Spec Group with Ali Bey. They will just ask you for your work. And that means that pricing isn't that important anymore. And then you can just calculate a normal price for your work. And I don't like hunting down for work because for the very simple reason, there are a lot of photographers willing to do it for free. And if you spend, let's say, 6 hours a week doing offers or making quotes for clients, and in the end you hear, no, sorry, we do for somebody else. And I tried it for 3-4 years, don't get me wrong. And I spent a lot of time making those quotes. And the only response I got back was, we have somebody else who can do it cheaper, or somebody else who can do it more flexible than you. He's willing to do it on a Sunday. And for us, Sunday is family day. So in the end, you know, my passion is photography and mostly teaching. So that's when I started to teach. Now, when did people start hunting after me for the teaching? That's very simple. I made sure that people saw me. I'm very active on social media. I make sure that if you ask me a question, you get an answer. Because if you take the time to ask something, I will take the time to answer. And I do that personally. So it's not Anna Week or an intern who answers you guys. It's really me. And what we try to do is just make sure that people like you. And if people like you, they will hire you. So I think that's the difference. So we made sure that with teaching, I knew what I was teaching. I knew that the quality was good. And at that time, if you just show that to people and share a lot on social media, see what we do for free. We give you guys, quite frankly, we give you guys behind the closed doors. The door is always open. Digital classroom, all for free. And it's all one studio. It's one guy. It's me. And of course our team, that's Anna Week, an intern, and our models. But that's all for free. But we also have our commercial stuff, which you can buy on our video page. Let me give you that very quickly. So that's under here. So you can buy our videos on frankdorov.com/videos, and those are the commercial products. Those are way better than the stuff you get for free. And that's logical, right? Because you have to pay for it. And we just hope that by creating a lot of goodwill from you guys, that people will actually start buying the videos. And at the moment, that really works well for us. So yeah, I think, and that's by the way also why we price those videos on a low price point, 35 euros or 15 euros even for the new Capture One, because we want to be able for everybody to afford the video. I don't think it's fair to ask 299 euros for a video for 90 minutes, and well, that's a lot of money, and we would prefer to do it on 35. So let me see if we have more questions. Okay, Anna Week had to go because there was somebody in the store, so I don't know if there are anything on Facebook Live at the moment. For now, I think everything works. So again, this was only meant for testing our live streams, and I think it's a success. I did hear some guys complaining about noise behind my audio. If you have noise, we're going to check this online. We're going to check what it is. It can be something with the inputs of the Sennheisers, and we're going to check that for you guys to make sure that during Digital Classroom you don't hear any noise. But I think it's the fan of my laptop, because that actually makes a lot of noise at the moment. So thank you so very much for watching. I'm going to see if I can close this down, but not before, of course, we're going to give you the bumper for Digital Classroom, so you guys actually knew what you saw. and we go back automatically. Isn't it wonderful that everything works? Okay, I'm going to retouch some images today, and you can see them on social media, Facebook and everything else. And after that, it's very simple. I'm going to try to draw something, and tonight we have other appointments, and tomorrow, Camera Express workshop in, I believe, Amsterdam or somewhere else. We'll see, and who knows. And then Sunday, the hairdresser shoot, which you can all see, of course, in behind the closed doors. Thank you so very much for watching. Make sure to leave comments below so we know what we're doing and we know when something went wrong or if you like the stuff we do. So thank you so very much for watching, guys. I'm gonna kill the flu, I hope, for tomorrow. Bye-bye. And stop.